What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I'm out this morning, getting them steps in, all 10,000 of them. I probably won't get all 10,000 in right this moment, but I guess I'll get a few thousand in. Probably I think I'll at least get 4,000 in. So I'm going to put a significant dent in that overall number. Shout out to you guys, my subs. Thanks for riding along with me. The road to 5,000 continues. Slow motion is better than no motion, but we are getting some motion. We are getting that traction, and that's about all I could ask for. Let's jump into the topic. I mentioned the other day about these teen boys in my city. They've been sleeping on a porch since July, according to them. There were concerned neighbors who seen them under the covers and whatnot, seen toothbrushes on the porch, seen Jordans and heating pads and stuff on the porch. These people were very concerned, understandably so. That's a very odd sight to see. And around that time, we were getting temperatures in the single digits. We had we had a good 3 or 4 days where it was just biting cold out here. You guys who follow me, I made comments about how insanely cold it was. And one of those days, it may have been more than one, but at least one of those days that I noticed, we had single digit temps overnight. So that is dangerous cold to be out there under a quilt. So what ends up happening? Well, we skip forward to now, and there's been an investigation, and according to what they're saying, the boys have access to the house. They are willingly sleeping on the porch. And they're trying to say that the boy has behavioral patterns. The older one, he has behavioral patterns. Okay. Let's unpack that a little bit. Let's say hypothetically, the older boy, the 16-year-old, has behavioral problems. Hypothetically, what does that have to do with him wanting to be warm? All right, we all acted out as teenagers. You know, we all hated rules. What does that have to do with wanting to be warm? It's single-digit temps out. In my opinion, I'm just on the outside looking in. In my opinion, ain't that much behavior problems in the world to where you're gonna be that stubborn, that ridiculous, that your refusal to follow rules outweighs self-preservation, which is taking your black ass inside where it's warm at. And then that doesn't explain the other one. I think he's 12. That doesn't explain the other one sleeping on the porch with him. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm skeptical to really buy into these explanations that they're giving. I was a young man once too that I'm not gonna say I had behavior problems, but let me let him go ahead and go. I'm not gonna say I had behavior problems, but I was a young man learning who he was, and I had my stubborn times where I was harder to deal with than others. I couldn't fathom sleeping on the porch and I have access to go inside, especially on a brutally cold day. Some days we'd be outside throwing snowballs. It was fun to be out there then with our hat and gloves on and throwing snowballs, but please believe we was all about to go inside at night. So trying to categorize this under behavioral issues, to me, that doesn't wash with the older one. It certainly doesn't wash with the younger one, because how does that end up with him sleeping outside too? So I don't know about that. Also, if they had access to the house and were willingly sleeping outside on the porch, why is it that when given the opportunity to go somewhere else, they jumped and took it? When they were given the opportunity to sleep inside, they took it. That doesn't work for me. People are saying, oh, well, perhaps it was an adventure to them. Come on now, y'all. Y'all gotta stop trying to make sense out of foolery, especially when your explanations just sound like more foolery. I swear, people, they will come up with all types of asinine reasons, regardless of how much sense they don't make, how they are the absence of any sort of reasoning. And they'll still type that goofy stuff anyway and hit post. Someone else, now this wasn't goofy, but they were like, well, they're minors. They were forced to go somewhere else. No, you can't force them to go somewhere else. You can't force them to go somewhere else, especially the 16-year-old. They're at home. You can't force them to leave at home. You have no authority to do so. So that doesn't check, y'all. I'm sorry. You know, if you're at home and you're choosing to be on the porch and your parents have not said you can't stay there, because according to the parents, they are allowed to be there and they have access to the house. So the parents are allowing them to be there. You have no authority to force them to leave. You can't. They're at home. So that doesn't work. I think whoever typed that message, you know, they were well-meaning, but they just didn't take into consideration that those boys are at home. And it's not like the parents said they had to leave. And even if the parents did want them to leave, the authorities wouldn't be able to force them. There's steps to this when you're dealing with minors. Even if the parents are like, get out of my house. They'd be like, no, that's not how it works. You can't just kick your kids out because they want to sleep on the porch or they are a little sassy or something like that. Doesn't work that way. So this is the current update with this. They're still with the family friend. And in my opinion, this whole thing, you know, the reason why they've looked into this the way that it has is because the community outcry became massive. They like, look, get to the bottom of this. What is happening here? This is not a good look for our neighborhood. This is not a good look for our city. Like, why are these boys sleeping in the cold in far below freezing temperatures? What is happening here? I'm not going to try to be a conspiracy theorist, but they did say that the house registered to a pastor. That pastor could be pretty connected and he could call in a favor, smother this story, make this go away. I don't know. I mean, that's out there. Don't kill me. I'm gonna take my tinfoil hat off. I'm not saying that my explanation makes sense. I'm just saying that I do not immediately accept what they're offering me as an explanation. Just like how what I said may not have made sense, that's how I feel about their explanation. It's not making sense. It's not adding up, man. You can be as proud as you want to be, but you still got common sense. Because ultimately, I hated rules when I was a teenager too. I mean, we all did. But not enough to sleep on the porch for 6 months. And those that are trying to make it seem like, oh, this is a normal thing. No, it's not a normal thing. That's why it's caught the attention that it has. This is very bizarre. That's why we've all tuned in. Like, what is happening here? If this were something that happened all the time with kids all the time, teenagers everywhere or whatever, this never would have made the news in the first place. So stop it, man. Y'all be duping yourselves with stuff. But let me know what y'all think, man. I'm curious to read them comments on this. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.